All right, guys, give it up for your growth panel again, guys. Big stuff. Dude, how good was that? How great was that? Let me hear you say grow. Who came here to grow? Who came here to grow? Let me hear you. Let me hear you. That's not loud enough. Who came here to grow? There we go. There we go. Guys, look, I love these events because, yes, you're going to get some inspiration, but it's not always just about hype. Guys, those are the people that have had the most growth in our company, and they're telling you how they're doing it. You guys are getting practical information, things that you can take back, not next month, but next week, and you can implement and you can grow and you can have the same type of growth that those guys had the last 6 months of this year. And speaking of growth, it's crazy how this business works. I know a lot of times, a lot of growth. When I think of growth, I think of hungry. I think of people being in the right place, but also having that right type of grit, ready to just take off and take it to the next level. That's the type of people that you're looking for in this opportunity. And a lot of times, guys, you never know when that opportunity is going to come, when the right person is going to come around the corner. Speaking of that, dude, I remember, I think it was 14 years, almost to the date, 14 years ago, almost to the date, I sent a message inviting somebody to this opportunity. I thought he would be really good at this. I thought it would be just phenomenal at this opportunity. And guess what? At that time, he was doing better than I was. And he said, nah, man, I'm doing better than you. I'm gonna go a different route. That was 14 years ago. Well, 10 years later, I get a message one day. He said, Dusty, how's the insurance business doing? Are you still making money? And at that point, because of the way insurance works with compounding interest and just every year progressing, and if you put just the hard work in, your income grows and gets better every year. At that point, I was making 3 to 5 times more money than him. He said, dude, I'm working hard, I'm making great money, but I have a family now. I have 0 time for them. I'd like to look into this opportunity. Do you think I could do this? And I said, well, yeah, man, you can, but you're gonna have probably take a step back if you want to take a huge leap forward. Well, he took a big leap of faith in me, PlanRight as a whole, and he, not only this year, 36 months, almost to the date when he got hired, he was able to hit full partner with our company. Guys, I want you guys to stand to your feet. Our newest full partner of the company, Mr. Alstin Vanderford. Get up and give it for AV, baby! Not only is he one of the fastest to ever do it, but my God, ain't nobody been as hungry in this business as this guy. Give it up one more time for Alstin Vanderford, your new fullest partner.
Proud of. Oh man. Well, those accomplishments, they weren't me. I want to thank my team, obviously. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all your hard work. So appreciative of you guys. My wife's not here, but my family's my everything, like I'm sure a bunch of you guys. So thank you to my wife and kids and family. And then thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, none of us would be here. So thank you.
New fullest partner. How cool is that, guys? That's cool, right? Well, I thought it would be better to have this segment. We were going to call this next segment called The Path to Partner. But we're actually going to call it The Road to $1 Million. Who's excited about that? Who's excited about the road to $1 million? Who can see yourself making $1 million in here one day? Raise your hand. Let me hear. There's a lot of hands up there. Who's come here to make partner? There we go. There we go. There we go. Well, not only have I've just watched the journey of Alstin do it the last 3 years. And it's funny, I like to study numbers. And I like to really look at analytics. And I was looking at this stuff, and it's crazy. It's so crazy how identical the stats that Keith had on his run to partner. The stats that I had when I made a commitment in 2018, 36 months later, I hit partner. And when I really got serious in the business. It was crazy how when I look at Blythe, when she committed in 2020 and she made that run 2023, she was a partner. And then he came here in 2023, 2026, now he's a partner. It's funny how most people, when you make that climb, it's that 36-month window. And so for those out there that are listening in, look, I don't care if you've been here for 90 days. I don't care if you've been here for maybe 6 or 7 years, as I had at the time when I fully committed. If you want to be partner, everybody in here has that same opportunity. Now, will everybody do that? No, they won't. Because a lot of times they won't put just the discipline, the dedication, and the obsession that goes behind it. But we're going to break it down for you today, and we're going to let you guys know that you're not as far away as you may think you are. And some of these numbers that we're going to show you, they're just mind-boggling. Because 3 short years ago, this guy was selling cars, and now he's a partner with a company. And there's other people that are going to do it faster than he's doing it because of the systems that we have in place. Alstin, what are you going to say to that, man?
Yeah, so let's do something real quick. Guys, if you're in the back and you're talking, this here is going to be good for everyone here. If you're in your first day or you're not even started yet, all the way to where you're a partner, this talk here is going to change your business. I truly believe that. So if you're in the back, please sit down or just pay attention, please. Who here is within their first 30 days in the business? All right. I need you right here. Come up here 1 second. Yep, you. All right. So what is your vision for your future here with NASB and PlanRight?
Be a partner.
Okay. But give me a little bit more. Like, how are you going to do that? What's your big vision?
Big vision is just grind every day. I don't know the vision. I've been here long enough that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Who's been here less than 6 months? All right. You right there. Come here 1 second. All right. What is your vision for your future here?
I want to be a partner.
Give me a little bit more detail.
Yeah, so I'm still working on getting consistent with 5 to 8 apps a week and 3 to 5K a week, and that's going to be my first step to making sure that I can take care of my family and my bank account so that I can pour into other people.
Okay. Where's my buddy Dawson? Where you at, brother? All right, come down here real quick. So Dawson's been here with me how long now? A little over 2 years. Okay. Dawson, give them your vision of what you're going to do here.
So we have a 10-year goal of 10,000 plus agents. Excuse me, 2,000 plus agents. We're kicking out State Farm. That's the idea in the South. And my goal really isn't partner. It's not senior partner. There's people on my team that have looked me in the eyes and committed to me. My goal is to get every single one of them, my ride or dies, to senior partner. So that's the goal. That's the long-term vision.
All right. So there's a picture up here that I want each one of you to look at. And my guys will laugh at this. I love ChatGPT. So it created this picture for me. The first one is the agent within their first 30 days. They can't see the big picture. They don't know what's coming for them. They don't know how great this opportunity is because they haven't caught any vision. They're just worried about selling. They're worried about how can they pay bills, that kind of stuff. The second one is the person within their first 6 months to a year. They think they know. They think they have a vision. Everybody gives the talking points. I want to be a partner. I want to be a partner. That's what I want to do. But they don't really understand what that looks like yet, okay? Then the third one. The third one's like a Dawson. The third one's a Dusty. The third one's a Crump. Those people that have hit great levels, RVP, partner, whatever it may be, but now they see there's so much more here for them. 2,000 agents. Do you guys know what someone would be making if they had 2,000 agents? I'm going to show you. I have Jordan's numbers. So this is going to change your life, whether if you're here day one or if you've been here for 5 to 10 years, okay? So let's go ahead and get in the numbers. All right, so no one else is going to show you this. This was my first year in the business, okay? Who made more than $89,000 their first year in the business? Okay. Who here made more than $89,000 and is a partner? Why did everyone's hands go down? Except for Scott. Because it's not all about the money you make your first year. There's a lot of lessons learned. So you can see here, my biggest month my first year was $11,636 in income, okay? And then my expenses stayed somewhere between $1,800 to $4,000, something like that. But I was steadily investing in myself. The biggest investment in year one is what? It's leads, right? You're learning how to sell. So you have to invest in your leads. So the top line here, the blue line, that's income. The red line's investment. That's going to be on every one of these slides. On the right side, that's my agent count that I had year one, okay? The months you see one, that was just me. So I really didn't start building until probably my 6th or 7th month. And my first agent, Dusty, gave me a guy named Trail who failed out within his first 2 weeks. I lost my first 10 agents that I hired here. So just know there's going to be some attrition, okay? Because you're not ready for that. So let's go to the next slide here. Let's go into the numbers, okay? In my opinion, months 1 through 9 are the hardest part of the business. You're learning a new skill. There's no passive income. You're learning to become a business owner. So if you're there, just know you're in the grind phase. And we called this, me and Dusty nicknamed this the preparation, okay? Because you're preparing for what's to come. I made $89,000 in deposits. I spent almost $40,000 back in my business. So I invested 45% of my income back in my business. Now, about $31,000 of that was on leads. So like I said earlier, your biggest investment is leads. That's about $587 a week. My guys, when they come in, we teach somewhere between $300 to $500 a week in leads to get going, okay? And then, like I said, every agent that I hired my first year is no longer here.
Well, I think a lot of it, Alstin, comes down to learning the business. There's a reason why we call this the preparation. So I don't want you to, I know you see the word year up there. This was Alstin's year. I want you to think of it as stage. Because I think on the way to partner, the road to $1 million, the road to the path to partner, whatever you want to call it, you're going to go through probably 3 or 4 different stages. I think the first one's the preparation stage. You're going to have to learn the business. And so at this part of your journey, you're really focuses on, number one, on learning the business. You're learning how to master sales. Look, if you can't sell, you cannot teach others to be able to do that. So you have to master that first. You also have to learn the ins and outs of recruiting people. You learn how to build discipline and consistency. You look at every high sales manager on that growth panel. They're all consistent in what they do in their business. You also have to learn how to, investing back into the business and investing in yourself more importantly. I think becoming obsessed with personal development is a big thing that I know for me personally, I had to work on. I hated reading early on. I hated reading, or listening and learning because I'm not going to say I was arrogant, but I thought I knew more than I really did. And so that was probably why my preparation season didn't come until 4 years into this business. But everybody's going to have to go through this journey. But I think the biggest thing here, the biggest takeaway I want you guys to take from the preparation part. And when we're talking here, I want you guys to really identify and think where you are in the business. What part of your sales journey are you at? Are you still in the preparation season? If you are, that's okay. It's fine. How can I get better? How can I constantly be growing and moving my business forward? But the biggest part, the biggest lesson I want you guys to learn here is I think during this season, it's not about who can make the most money. It's about learning how can I become the most valuable person on my team. And when you become the most valuable person on your team, that's when people want to follow you. That's when you move into stage 2, which is the foundation, which I think when you're kind of finding the right people to run with on your path to partner.
Well, let me give you a few things. You see down here the lessons. One thing that happened to me in my 3rd month, and I know a lot of you probably know this, is I about quit. So I bought leads in a bad area, or what I consider a bad area in Raleigh that's very transient. And Dusty got back in the car with me. And one of the things that Dusty said to me was this first point up here, you're going to have to learn to love the field at this stage, okay? There's some homes we don't want to go in. I'll just be honest with you. There's some things that we don't want to do, but you have to learn to love it. The second thing, in this phase, you have to learn the business. So you need to be doing underwriting outside of business hours. You need to be learning sales skills if you've never done sales. You need to be watching people on YouTube that you can emulate, okay? The third things, if y'all look at that, can you go back to that graph? In July, I went negative, okay? Why did I go negative? Because I went on 2 vacations that year. I took a vacation with you out to Dallas, Texas, to Cody Askin's 8% event. And then I went on my family vacation I do every July 4th. So I went negative. How many people can afford here to go negative? Not many, okay? Luckily, I'd prepared myself for this in my past career, but vacations kill your momentum your first year until you get into your late SMs. And then last thing here, you're going to learn is hiring is hard. You're going to hire a lot of people because they tell you yes to start, but you have to be able to find those people that are like you. And you'll see here in the next phase, phase 2, that's where I finally did that.
Well, I think a big part here, Alstin, is look, guys, year 1, he made $89,000. Sometimes we get so focused on that. I made $108,000 my first year. There's so many of you guys in the room right now that are on pace to make more than I did my first year, than he did his first year. You're on pace to, some of you guys are on pace to double that, but yet you think you're so far. But watch this. This is what I want you guys to really focus on. What does your investment in the business look like? You know, he put 45% income back in the business, yet we teach 10 to 20%. A lot of you guys are putting 10% back in the business, 20%. What if you double that? What if you upped your investment? Then that's not always just money. It's time, it's effort, it's everything that goes into learning the business. Because there's one thing I can tell you, the reason why he got off to such a fast start is I bet none of you have spent much time learning the ins and outs of this business and being obsessed with it like he was. I consider that an investment, and that's one of the things that paid off for him. And so I think, look, wherever you're at, focus on becoming the most valuable person. How can I become better each and every day? And you'll look up and you'll see how far you've progressed and you've come. Let's move to year 2, man.
Yeah. So year 2, me and Dusty named this the foundation, because what you're doing is you're building the foundation of your business. Okay. So what are you trying to do here? You're trying to find the next you. You're trying to find somebody that wants it as bad as you do. So what you'll see here, the first half of the year, I had great income. Okay. What happened that first 2 months of the year? I found Justin Crump, who wanted it like I wanted it, okay? So income went up substantially, but so did my investments. One thing that you guys are gonna see on this graph is it's linear, okay? When your investments go up, your income usually goes up, okay? So 19,000, the highest month, you can see we steadily started growing at the end. That's because we went from 6 agents in January to 19 high in November and December. Guys, August, September, October, you need to be planning for November and December. What comes in November and December? Holidays, Christmas. Your kid's Christmas is going to be earned right now, starting right now the next 3 months, okay? So really focus on buckling down these next 3 months. All right, Sammy, let's go to the next slide. All right, so let's get into the numbers here. I was an AG1 when the year started. I hit SM3, SM2, the second or at that year, okay? And I was learning how to manage others. There's still things I learn on how to manage others every day. There's things that my team does that I don't like. There's things that we do that, are great, but you're learning how to lead people. The lead investment increased from 30,000 to 60,000. Who wants to guess why that was? I'm buying leads for my team. I'm investing in them. The people that I'm bringing on, that's why I doubled my lead investment, because I'm trying to help these people be successful. But my deposits doubled too. So I went from 89K to 160K my second year, okay? But my expenditures went from 40 to 80. They doubled as well, okay? I invested 51% in my second year as opposed to 45% my first. Most of the money was in leads, but this is where it really started transitioning from money for leads to money for hiring. So if you're in this phase, in this SM phase, you're probably going to be spending a lot of money in leads, but you also have to start investing in hiring as well.
Well, I think the reason why we called this phase foundation, Alstin, is because I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong. A lot of people, you're starting to hire people in the preparation stage, but you end up hiring some of the wrong people. Sometimes you make mistakes. Well, understand that, I think your foundation, what's the most important part of any house, any structure? It's the foundation, right? This is where you're laying and you're finding the people that you want to run with the next 10 years. The people, hey, these guys are people that I want to build a legacy with 10, 15 years down the road. And if you looked at, hey, I can only hire 10 people, a lot of you guys wouldn't hire some of the people that you are. But it's okay. But that's why this is the foundation stage, because you got to get those situations, or excuse me, the hires right. Because if you hire the wrong people, then it's going to cause you guys not to kind of stay on the hamster wheel with your business. And I think if you're looking for the right people, eventually you're going to find them. It's crazy how one hire can change everything. I mentioned my run to partner, the 3-year journey, 2018, to 2021. Well, the first year was all about me. I was becoming the leader that I needed to become. And isn't it funny how that year of preparation between 2018 and 2019, I found James Tyndall. I found Blythe. I found everybody that is direct to me other than him in that one season. I don't think it's by chance. It's because it's what I was focused on. So I became the person that I needed to be, the person that was the most valuable asset to my team. And isn't it funny that I started attracting the right people? And I think the foundation is so important. But understand this, when you find the right people, it makes this business not only funner, but it also makes it just enjoyable, because you have people that are working with you. A lot of you out there, how many people have hired people and it's like, gosh, I can't get them to do anything? They're the wrong person. I've hired hundreds of those people, tons of them, plenty more than probably you have. And it's frustrating as crap. But one hire can change it all. That's what happened to you, man. Talk about that, maybe that year or two. Any lessons or takeaways that you have from there?
Oh man, this is going to be good here. Okay. Your agent that you hire will never be worth more to you than at this stage. Okay. The last bullet point here, on average, every agent added $829 to my bottom line. So as I hired more people, that added $829 to my bottom line. I'm going to show you Jordan's now, what it would be now with each agent would add at the end, and you'll see the difference. Try to focus on finding leaders. I found Justin. Hobbs and Robbie joined me. I found Dawson. I found Matt Wiley and a few other my leaders, all in that 1 year. All in that 1 year is when I found all of those guys that are now at the top of my organization.
Well, isn't it funny how that I just said that happened for me? I look back at Keith's foundation. That was basically created in one season. Blythe's, I was talking to her last night. Hers was kind of created in one season. A lot of Jordan's directs were created in one season. It's because a lot of times it's what you're focused on. So as you go through, this stage of your progression of this business, you're going to find the right people. But when you find them, you got to be ready to make sure that you attract them, because a lot of times we can find the right people, but if I'm not the person to be able to lead them, I can't keep them. And so if you're at this phase and hey, you're like I was for the first 4 years of my career, I was finding good people, but I couldn't keep them because I wasn't the people that they wanted to follow. I had to make the changes in the preparation stage first before I could ever keep the right people. But when I found them, hey, we were ready to run, and it changed everything in my business. I also think at this stage, when you're laying your foundation, you're finding your generals that you want to run with, this is when you also want to start developing your culture. I think the culture of your team. I remember Cody Lowry coming to me one time and saying, Dusty, I need you to define the culture of my team, create the culture for me. I said, Cody, I can't find that. I can't do that for you, man. I said, you have to create your own culture. Hire people that you like, people that you want to run with. And dude, it's crazy. He has one of the best cultures here because he made a decision, go change the culture. You did the exact same thing. I think getting around the right people, always staying plugged in. But that's the key, guys, the right people. People that want to work together, that want to run together. You look at all the teams that have good culture. This is where it's established in this phase of the business. And so if your culture maybe isn't where you want it, that's okay. Change it. Change it. Find the right people. Start doing the things with your team of the culture that you desire, and just watch what happens over the next 12 months. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So that second year when Hobbs and Robbie joined us, that allowed us to have 4 athletes at that time. And we narrowed down on what we were looking for. Okay. But we also kind of broke away and started doing our own thing. Now, that doesn't mean breaking away from the total, PlanRight or your agents, your upline or anything like that. We took more responsibility on ourselves. So we started having our own Zooms. We started doing things together as a team. We started doing things that help us build that culture. So that's super important. Another thing that you're going to have to learn is you're going to have to be obsessed with this business. This is not a part-time, half-ass effort business. This is something that you have to be obsessed with for 36 to 48 months. That's all it takes. That's all it took me. I'm not any sharper than anybody out here, but I can tell you this, at 11 o'clock at night, when I'm sending my last text message to my guys, and at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning, when I'm sending them that motivational YouTube video in the morning, they knew that I was thinking about this. They knew that I was obsessed with it. And hopefully that rubbed off a little bit on them, and hopefully y'all's will rub off on your team as well.
I think that's so important you said that, man, because I remember the first couple of years of my business, dude, Keith used to get so frustrated with me because I would get momentum. And a lot of you guys have had momentum and lost it. You know how hard it is to get it back. And I would go take a golf trip, or I would have, a lot of things going right in the business, and I would do something that would pull me away from the business, and everything would stop. And it would take double the effort to get that momentum back. Well, whenever I committed to make my run to partner in 2018, I promise you everything that I did, eat, sleep, drink, breathe, everything, events were all around one thing. That was NESB and PlanRight and me growing my team to the level that I wanted to do it. And it's funny how you talk about culture. That's how our guys built such great relationships, because we were always together, because I hired people that I liked, I loved hanging out with, and we all had the same vision. I think a lot of times, looking back, I maybe could have gotten there faster if I would have committed earlier. This thing became my hobby. You have to learn to love the field early on, but then you're going to have to learn to love this business if you ever want to grow it to the millionaire lifestyle. Dude, even we were on the boat with Keith right now. He's a multimillionaire. All we talk about is this business because we love it that much. It became our hobby. That's a big part of growing at this phase.
All right, let's go to year 3, okay? So me and Dusty coined this one, the growth phase, okay? This is where the exponential growth happens. I always use this term compound interest with this business. So every day from the day one that you start this business, you're investing $1, you're investing $1, you're investing $1. And then as you grow into this growth phase, it starts growing exponentially, okay? Because now you have other leaders that are doing it with you. So what you'll see here, we started off last year as an SM1 team, okay? We ended the year as a junior partner team, okay? So we went from $16,000 all the way up to $46,000 at the height of the business, at the height of my year. Agent count went from 22 agents to 55 agents. What is your focus here? Your focus is taking your leaders that you've identified and helping them grow. If you can help someone else get what they want, ultimately that's going to help you get what you want. So it's not about you anymore at this phase, it's about your team. So really at this phase, focus on building your leaders and helping them grow.
Well, I think a big part here, guys, look at the jump of income. So I think a lot of people, right before they get to this phase, they back off. They pull back because he put 2 years of hard damn work in, and he wasn't making to the numbers of income that he was making before in the car business before he came here. Most people would have walked away and quit. Very few people would. And this is the phase where your income really starts to take off. Because not only have you gone through your preparation stage, now you're the person, the leader that you need to be. You've found the right people. You've identified the generals that I'm going to take into battle with me. But now it's time to grow. And so everything is growth in this season. Everything is like, how can I help the team grow in all ways? Recruiting, training, developing, whatever it may be. This is still a hard phase, but this is when you start to feel the rewards. Look at the income. It almost doubled, tripled this year. But I think a big part here is you stop asking the question at this phase, how can I do more? It's how can I help others become successful? And when you start asking yourself that question, how can I help others become successful? It's funny how it's crazy the growth that'll happen with the right vision and the right people. I think another thing that you need to be focused on here, guys, is building some of the systems that work for you. Now, I told some of you guys at the manager meeting yesterday that, look, I have to leverage Keith's strengths and then his weaknesses. I have to make sure that I fill in the gaps. I'm not complaining of his weaknesses. I knew that Keith wasn't a systems guy. I was. That's why we worked so well together. But I knew if I got people in the room, he was going to teach them, he was going to inspire them, and he was going to make them better. And so that I built systems around leveraging the people around me and maximizing their potential. There's a lot of you out there right now that were just like that. Are you leveraging the resources that are around you? If you do, you'll maximize growth. But if not, because like he said before, I started taking responsibility, but he didn't say isolation. He didn't say I'm gonna do everything myself. No, he said I'm gonna leverage my strengths. I'm gonna maximize Dusty and Keith when I need them. That's a big part of this business, man, or this segment of the business.
All right, let's get to the next one. So we hit all three big promotions: RVP, associate, and junior. Deposited $363,000. So it went from 160 to 360. Okay, but look at the expenditures. It went from 80 to 207. I didn't back off of spending money. You can't. Anytime you back off on spending money, your business dies. Okay, invested 57% back in my business. Lead spend around the same as the year before, because now I have other people spending money on leads. My leaders are spending money on leads as well. The biggest increase in investment came from hiring. In job boards alone, $34,000 in job boards. I started my own hiring office and staffed it with 3 people. Now look at the last point here. Last slide is at $859, I believe each agent adds to you. This one, it says $788. Why did it go down? It went down because now my leaders are growing as well. So as you grow in this business and your people grow with you, you're gaining more agents, but your income on each agent's going down. So it's lowering. So you have to understand the difference between adding agents and the amount of income you're making off each agent, okay? Now, lessons here. Team events and building culture. You already established your culture in your foundation phase. Now you're growing your culture. So last year, I rented out some 15,000 square foot houses at these events. All of our team got around each other. We were building culture. We were building relationships, because people stay here for relationships. The money's great, but if they don't have a relationship with their upline, they can go anywhere. So you have to focus on your relationships. Systems, like you said. Systems are the most important thing. And you don't have to use the systems that are in place. You can implement systems. Last night, my group spent 2 hours in the kitchen at the house we rented talking about things that we wanted to implement going forward for the next 6 months. How many of you guys are doing that? How many of you are sitting down with your team thinking, okay, what can we do to improve this? So systems are super important. This is where the life-changing money begins. Who here has made $360,000 before? Okay, so a couple. But who here has made $360,000 outside of this business? Maybe 1 or 2. You know, it's not that many. So this is where the life-changing money begins, but you're not done yet, okay? And beware of complacency here. Me and Dusty talked about this. RVP seems to be where people are making more money than they've ever made before, and they get complacent. They stop investing. They stop growing. They fall back. So, Dusty, I know you want to say something to that, the complacency part of it.
Well, yeah, I think at this part of the stage, you're probably an RVP. You should be, and maybe an associate. And the two things that I see a lot of mistakes a lot of people make is, number one, they stop investing back in their business. They're making, if you notice on the graph there, Alstin investment stayed about the same throughout the 3 years, but as his income grew, he didn't stop investing, reinvesting back into the business. And I think that's a huge mistake. And I think the second thing is, like, because somebody's making more money, they get complacent. They stop doing the things, they get away from doing the things that were making them successful, which is hiring, recruiting, training, being the leader that they were before they hit that title, right? And so I think you have to consistently have the vision in front of your people, not where we're at, but where we're going, and keep your foot on the gas pedal, because it's very easy to do that, especially when you're making $354,000, $500,000. But guys, that's not the goal. You have to have a greater vision than that. Hopefully you will one day, but I think that's the biggest mistake people make here, man.
Okay.
But because year 4 is when it really gets stupid.
So year 4, let's go to that. We named this the development stage. So now you have leaders, you have RVPs, you have high SMs, and now your job is to develop them. That's all I'm focused on now, is how can I help these guys get to the next level? So development of your leaders here. Now, what you'll find, we started the year with 60 agents. So far, we've finished, or halfway through the year in June, we had 80. So we've added about, 25% more agents in that time frame. So the income goes up. At the start of the year, $50-something thousand. We had some big months where I got, bonuses from That's one of the benefits of this job. When you hit partner, you get bonuses from integrity. So we had huge months those months, but your income's steadily increasing, but so are your expenses. Okay, so 36. We had one low month at 16,000, all the way up to $40,000 of expenses. So we're spending more. I'm spending more in some months than some people make. Okay, so you have to be able to understand it never stops. You can't stop. You can't stop investing in your team. There will be a point though where your investment won't grow anymore. Okay, and me and Dusty have talked about this. There will be a point where you've built enough leaders where they're investing more in their business, where you're not going to keep, increasing your investment.
Well, I think it's how you look at it, man, because look, I'll be honest with you. He spends more than most people are willing to do that. He does, but that's one of the reasons why he got there fast. He was willing to put the investment, whatever it takes. Now, maybe you're not at that point, but you have to continue to reinvest back into the business. I think that's a big part of why I told him, you give too much. However, but that's one of the reasons that got him there faster. The point we want to show you guys is I want you to look at the income. 400, almost on pace for 950,000. He's on the road to $1 million in less than 4 years. And guess what? His income is going to continue to grow. You know why? Because he has leaders now that are going to continue to pick the torch up. He laid the right foundation. He went through the growth phase. Now he's kind of in the phase where he's developing the right people to help grow them. But I think look at the agent count though, 60 to 80. If you look at the agent count the year before that, it almost doubled every single year. That's a big thing that I want you guys to focus on as you're growing your journey as well. You never hear me say, ask anything about production. What's your production like? No, everybody that I've ever talked to the management level, what's the question I always ask you? How many agents you got? How many agents you got? Because a lot of that's the health of your organization, just like app count. So really focus on the growth of the agents as well. And then I think this is where you really start to feel the financial impact of it. But also you have to ask yourself the question, can the business run without me? If I remove myself from the equation, can it continue to grow? And I think that's a big part of why you want to make sure that when you hit the development stage. I remember Keith going to China a couple of years ago. He was in China for 90 days it felt like. First big trip Keith ever took. We tripled that year. We tripled because he had the right pieces in place. He gave us the mic, the opportunity, and we took it and ran because of the foundation that he laid years before that. It's the same thing with your business. So as you're growing it, you're not done once you hit the growth stage. You're not done when you hit the development stage. It's constantly ongoing, having that same consistency year in and year out, and big things will come, man. Anything you want to add about this?
Yeah, so if we go to the next slide, invest in about $30,000 a month currently, okay? Lead spend and hiring spend flipped. So now most of my money is in finding the next me or the talent for my guys, okay? Lead spend's not as high because I'm pouring it back into my team, and now we have leaders. You have to ask yourself at this point, what are you chasing now? So now that you're a full partner, what is it that you want? And this next slide, you guys are going to love, where I have Jordan's numbers on there. Y'all are going to love this. The leader should be in the image of you. Okay, so if you are out at 5 o'clock at night drinking at this event, what is your team going to be doing? They're going to be following you. If you're up in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning working out before this event, what should your team be doing with you? It should be working out. They're going to follow you, okay? And at this stage, most of your time is invested in the 20% over the 80%. So most of your time is invested in your leaders at this stage. I would love more than nothing to get in the car with every person on my team. I would love more than nothing to have a personal relationship with every person that comes in the business going forward. It's just not feasible. You can't do it. So you have to build your leaders to have that same level of relationship that you had with them, with their agents, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to grow.
So let's move to Jordan. This number you've been talking about, what is possible. So I know you love, like, Austin calls me the craziest questions. Hey, how are we gonna get to 5,000 agents? Like, it's awesome. Like, he helped stretch me. So you need to find somebody in your group. Blythe, same way. She's always calls me these crazy questions of how can I, like, thinking bigger than sometimes I think. And so I know you hit Jordan up because you like to know what's possible. He sent you these numbers, man. You put on the slide there. So look at that. That's
Now,
great.
this is astounding, guys. I don't have the expenditures, but I do have the income and the agents. When Jordan hit partner, he had 75 agents. He was making roughly $55,000 a month. If you go back to that last slide, when I hit partner, I was making about that same amount. Now, we had a little less agents now because the agents have gotten better over time and we've got more resources now. So you're doing it with less agents, but the income's about the same. Now, let's look at this. He signs his integrity deal. He has 733 agents at the time, $390,000. Okay? The deal's announced, making $345,000 a month with 790 agents. Spring of 24, fall of 24, spring of 25, fall of 25, and spring of 26. He goes from 954 agents to 1,326 agents, a lot in part to you guys here, okay? And his income goes from $405,000 a month if he would not have sold to $650,000 a month spring of this year. 1,326 agents. How many people know how many people are in the United States? Like 350 million people. 1,326 is such a small little piece of that pie. So that's what's possible here, guys. It's not about just hitting partner. He likes to recommend the book, The Infinite Game, okay? This is the infinite game. This is where you can get. So stop thinking so small. Stop thinking about what's going on today when you get that door slammed in your face, and start thinking to the future of what you can build.
Well, I think let's talk about some final thoughts and takeaways before we finish this thing up here. By the way, are you guys getting something from this? I mean, does this excite people? Yeah, does it? Here. How many people thought you were further away than what you really were before this panel? Just 3 years. Does that excite you? Yes. That wasn't enough. There we go. Absolutely. So what are some of your final thoughts and takeaways, Austin?
What I really wanted my team to get away from this when I did it with them a couple weeks back is I wanted them to understand investment is the number one aspect of your business. You're running a business here, guys. You're not a W-2 employee anymore, okay? So you have to invest back into your business to make the money that you want to make, to pour it back into your business, to find the people that are going to be the next you to be able to build a business.
I think also, guys, understand as you go through your journey, that investment's going to change a little bit. Obviously, leads are probably your most money investment early on. Then you move to investing in other ways in your business with marketing, with staff, just different things. But you're always going to invest. But that's the number one thing that's going to help your business grow. Some of you guys, if you would invest more money, if you would invest more time, if you would just invest more into the business, your business would grow faster even faster than his did. But what are you waiting on? Why not? Why not? He actually opened my eyes to investing more a couple years ago. And so sometimes you don't have to be the so-called upline to help push somebody to grow to different levels that are not currently at as well, man. Any last takeaways, buddy?
Yeah. So there's a direct correlation between agent count and income. If I want to be a millionaire, how many agents do I need? Either one of you. No, a millionaire. Just to make $1 million a year. 80. That's what I had, right?
80 is
80 to 100 agents makes you $1 million a year. Why the hell are you not trying to find 80 agents right now? You want to be a millionaire? That's all it takes, okay? I wanted to get to this point. After Jordan's deal, he's averaged $476 per agent. Remember when we started? It was $859. It goes down to $476 an agent, but he went from $55,000 to $650,000. So agent count, direct correlation with income. And then one great hire can change your business, guys. If you find that one person that wants it as bad as you want it, it'll change your whole business. So look for that person that's like you, that's hungry, that wants more out of life and wants to grow, and do whatever you can to make them successful.
Well, I know this. I'm focused on 80. If I want the road to $1 million is the number 80. 80 people, that's all it really takes. It seems like we're so far away. But I'm going to end you with this, guys. I want you guys to really just think about the different stages that we just talked about and identify where you're at. I identify, because if you'll go to the next slide there, Sammy, look, preparation builds you. Your foundation, that builds your team. Your growth and vision, it builds your organization. And your consistency is going to build your legacy. A lot of times, I know for me, for example, I thought I was in a growing season, but I really wasn't. You have to go through each one of these phases before you get to the next one. I thought I was in a growth phase, but I couldn't keep anybody. You know why? Because I wasn't the person that I needed to be to lead the right people. I had to go back and prepare myself. I had to go prepare, become the agent and the leader that I needed to become before I ever found the right foundation. A lot of you guys think or a lot of you guys may want to grow, but maybe you just don't have the right foundation. That's okay. That was me as well. So whatever phase you're at, identify that and do whatever it takes to get to the next phase, to not only better yourself, develop yourself, and push through, because the road to $1 million is not really that far away. It's just how bad do you want it? Thank you, guys.